Hey, good morning, everybody. We're going to give it about another minute here. There's still some people logging in, so at about 10:01, we'll go ahead and get started. All righty, we'll go ahead and get this thing started here. Good morning, everybody. This is Tyler Finken, Health Marketing Director over at Western Marketing. First off, just wanted to say thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule this morning to be on the webinar with us here today. Got a very, very good webinar lined up for you here. We've got Mr. Brandon Reed, Vice President of Sales over at Heartland National, and he's going to talk a little bit about their hospital indemnity product. That way you guys can be up to speed on everything and ready to go for AEP here. So Heartland's got a great product. It's very, very customizable, very, very affordable. And before I let Brandon take it off here, I do want to remind you of one thing here. On the right-hand side of your screen, you should have a box there, and there should be a tab there for questions. If you do have questions throughout the webinar, feel free to type them into that box. And at the end, Brandon and I will do our best to answer those questions for you. So, Brandon, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you, and thank you for taking time to do this with us today.
Wonderful. Thank you, Tyler.
Brandon,
Yeah, so happy to be here, Tyler. Thank you again for getting this set up. Everybody, pleasure to meet you if we've not had the privilege of meeting yet. Please, at the end of today's call, I'll put my cell phone number and email in the PowerPoint. Be sure to take that and take full advantage of it. We do pride ourselves in being readily accessible for our agents to help separate ourselves from other companies out there. So we want to make sure you have as seamless of an experience as possible when working with us. I'm so excited to be here again with everybody today. For those of you who haven't cross-sold much of this product yet, I hope that today's presentation can give you some good insight on how hopefully you can add a tool like this to your portfolio and to your presentations. For those of you who have been cross-selling, and particularly hospital indemnity, I hope I can show you some of the key takeaways as to why you should be working with Heartland National, but also why you should, maybe a couple helpful tips on how I can help you sell more of this wonderful product. But again, my name is Brandon Reed, as Tyler mentioned, based out of Kansas City, Missouri. I was originally born and raised in Toronto, Canada. Came down here about 8 or 9 years ago on a baseball scholarship myself. I was also a downhill skier for many years. So if anybody has some common interest there, would love to chat later on. And I met my wife my junior year in college, and we've made Kansas City our home. Thankfully, I was lucky enough to find myself in this wonderful industry, working with Medicare beneficiaries for years, and now working at the insurance company level, presenting on this wonderful product here. At the end of today's presentation, I will put up a copy of our bonus flyer. I hope everybody's excited about this. We have a $50 bonus that will be kicking off for fourth quarter. So for all sales during AEP between October 1st and December 7th, we'll be paying an extra $50 an app on hospital indemnity sales. So we hope that helps get everybody engaged this year and helps you out while you're waiting on those Medicare Advantage commissions to come in January. So today we'll get into the importance of this product for both us, the agents, as well as our clients. We'll go over how we actually package hospital indemnity with Medicare Advantage. And while we're doing that, we'll dive into some of our plan highlights and features that make us different and can help separate us from some of our competitors, such as our guaranteed issue window, our household discount, and more. We'll go over product availability. That way you know if this is a product that fits in your market, so you can take full advantage of it, as well as, most importantly, our claims process. When it comes to Heartland, we want to make this as easy of an experience as possible for you. We want it from the contracting to the new business submission process to the claim submission process. We want to make sure every step along the way, you guys and gals are having a good experience. So again, working directly with me, having an inside man in the office will help with that. So please don't hesitate to reach out. We also have a wonderful team of gals in agency services who do a great job in licensing. So again, please use all the resources that we have available for you on our team. So we're going to get into it. We'll start with agent benefits, and then we'll get into how this product can benefit our clients. And of course, we know the main reason we'd be selling a product like this, hospital indemnity insurance, is to better protect our clients. But while doing so, we have the ability to generate an extra income while doing so. Just by selling about 2 of these policies a week, you can add another $20,000 to $30,000 a year to your bottom line. Okay? An average of 2 policies a week can make a really big difference in your business. And it doesn't take a whole lot to sell 2 of these a week. We're going to get into some of the details on who you can sell this to. It's not just your Medicare eligibles over 65. Anybody ages 18 to 85 can take out one of these policies. So be sure to talk to everybody about this type of product, whether they're on an employer group health plan, an ACA policy, a short-term medical, or a Medicare plan. There's always room for hospital indemnity. Who doesn't like the idea of a reimbursement, right? When you get a bill in the mail. So one of the other big reasons agents benefit from this product is oftentimes we end up meeting with a client, especially during AEP, and they've already got the most suitable plan to fit their needs when it comes to Medicare Advantage. And rather than leaving empty-handed, we have a great way we can position ourselves as educators and present this hospital indemnity product in that home. So when you sit with somebody and they've got the plan that you are most likely going in to help them with, you're able to then ask them to see their reimbursement plan. Or you're able to tell them, hey, this is a great product. I actually help a lot of people with this particular plan. The only thing I see missing is your reimbursement plan. Or the only thing that looks to be missing is your copay protector. May I see a copy of your hospital card? Right? These are all different ways we can position ourselves to not have to leave empty-handed in this situation. And then present the hospital indemnity. And when it comes to selling during AEP, right, or SEPs throughout the year, we just want to make sure that we're doing best by our client by making sure they understand how their current plan works. So the most important thing we do today, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, is going to be making sure you understand if you are in an accident or illness tomorrow, you know what you can expect to pay out of pocket. And the good thing is you don't have to pay for all of these exposures yourself if you don't want to. So we'll get into positioning it here in a minute, but let's finish hitting on a couple more of these details. Oftentimes we're sitting at the table or we're on the phone with a client and their husband or wife is sitting there with them, or perhaps sitting on the recliner in the living room, in the room next door. Those individuals most likely have not been educated on hospital indemnity insurance either. So let's bring them into this. Let's bring them into the review, have them fill out a scope of appointment. And let's kill 2 birds with 1 stone, right? Let's make sure we're giving some information to that spouse as well. When you're selling these plans with Medicare Advantage, and let's say we're talking to somebody who's turning 65, you're making your $601 on that new to Medicare enrollment, plus another $300 or $400 on this indemnity plan. And you take that and multiply it by 2, we're leaving the home making over $2,000 an appointment, right? By just helping the husband and wife with their insurance. So don't forget to talk about this to everybody in the home. And honestly, by doing this, you're going to get a lot more referrals too, because you're taking time with these folks to fill in their gaps. They're not going to be coming to you in 3 or 4 years worried about their exposure or that big bill they just received from that hospital copay. They're going to be coming to you thanking you for that $2,000 check you just got them, right? Or that $10,000 check, $20,000 check you just got them on the diagnosis of cancer. And by doing this, by doing such a good job and taking care of these clients, your persistency is going to look much better too. So when it comes to your clients' benefits, I feel like hospital indemnity really does give your clients, a lot more comfort when going the Part C Medicare Advantage route. For me, when I was doing seminars and I was presenting, their options, I would always start with traditional Medicare. We don't want to confuse these people, right? Because Medicare is confusing enough as it is. So we want to go very high level and just give them a simple breakdown. Traditional Medicare, what are your premiums, right? What are your costs each month? And what are your exposures? And then this is where we come in. What can we do to help, right? Option one, a Part B premium with a Part D prescription drug plan premium and a Medicare supplement. Unfortunately, we work with a lot of people on fixed incomes, right? We work with a lot of people who just don't see, the value in paying for all of those premiums and drug costs. Oftentimes people will tell me, wow, that is some phenomenal coverage on the medical and hospital side, but I can't afford $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a year in premiums and drug costs, right? So that's when thankfully we can pivot to Medicare Advantage, or we can lead with Medicare Advantage in that case, and we can educate them on the fact that these programs over here are a more affordable option premium-wise, a low to no premium plan with built-in drug coverage at no premium oftentimes, with built-in dental, vision, and hearing, right? To where on that Medicare supplement plan, we would have had to purchase all of that separately, okay? And we're able to get them all of these extras and still protect them from a lot of those copays in the hospital, still protect them from that cost-sharing responsibility in skilled nursing, or as they relate to chemotherapy and radiation, right? The hospital indemnity allows us to help fill in those gaps, to bridge the gap between that $0 premium plan with all those holes in it and that comprehensive but very expensive Medicare supplement option. And we can do that for a fraction of what it would cost for a Plan G, okay? While still getting them those dental, vision, hearing benefits and more. And there is no reason we shouldn't be talking to this product with somebody turning 65. There's no reason we shouldn't be talking to somebody turning 65 about this product. The reason why, and this is how you can create some urgency in the home at 65. Number one, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, you are guaranteed coverage on this plan at this point in time, as long as you pay the premiums. There are no health questions asked between ages 64 and a half and 65 and a half to get this plan. So right now I'm sitting with the client, 64 and 9 months old. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, it's important to take out this coverage now because you know you can qualify for it. 3 to 4 years from now, I can't guarantee you that you could get this coverage in the event you needed it, right? We buy insurance based on when we're going to need it the most, not based on our current health. And then the second reason to buy now is because it's more affordable. Your client will lock in their rate at issue age. So when they buy this policy with Heartland National at 64 and 9 months, they're going to pay the 64-year-old rate for the lifetime of the policy. Okay, so Mr. and Mrs. Jones, again, if you were to wait 3 or 4 years to take out this policy, you would be paying a lot more in premium to do so at that time. If you take it out today, when you're 70, 80, 90 years old, you'll still be paying that 64-year-old rate. So create some urgency around that 65th birthday. They're coming off of an employer group health plan, most likely, where they were paying a lot more for their insurance than they are for a hospital indemnity plan. So let's put some money back in their pocket going Part C, right? Going the Part C route, and let's use some of that money to put them in a better position overall. The nice thing is these policies, if you're on advancing, they pay on issue. So if you write this policy on October 15th for a January 1st effective date, you will be paid on probably October 18th or 19th, just a few business days later. You'll see that commission hit your account once it's issued. When we're working plan changes, right? We brought it up earlier, working during AEP and running into people with these great plans that they don't really need help with. We can help them with hospital indemnity. Maybe we are changing their plan. At that time, some agents put an obstacle in front of them. Hey, my client's 68 now, it's more expensive to get these plans. How can I sell around that type of obstacle? Well, don't worry about it. It's still a lot cheaper than it would be at 75 or 80, okay? My clients are not as healthy as they were at 65, or it's not guaranteed issue. Again, as long as you're pitching this product, you can sell it to the ones who do qualify, right? Don't just not ask about it because you're worried about people not qualifying for it. Talk to everybody about it. Find out if they're healthy enough to qualify. And then don't limit this plan just because they're on a fixed income. Don't not offer it because you don't think they can afford it. Those people who are right above that Medicaid threshold, right, making maybe $20,000 a year in income, cannot afford an $1,800 bill or a $2,000 bill in the event of a hospitalization. Those are the individuals who need it the most. So if they're not cost share protected, they don't have Medicaid, and they have copays to pay for. This plan for $25, $30 a month can come in there and better protect them. And it's all about planting the seed. When it comes to selling this product, all we need to do is get to that summary of benefits. As we're presenting it, plant the seed and identify their out-of-pocket exposures and give them the opportunity to eliminate it. So they're not going to be so worried about that $0 PCP copay or that $25 specialist visit, right? It's important to educate them on some of the bigger exposures, like this $295 copay, days 1 through 6 in the hospital. And educate them on the fact that this is not just a one and done copay, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. This is something you could be subject to several times in that same calendar year. Let's say 61 days later, they're hospitalized again. They can get another $1,800 bill in that situation for 6 days in the hospital. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, is this something you want to be responsible for out of pocket? What do you think the answer will be? No. This is not something I want to pay for out of pocket. Well, the good news is, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, you're healthy enough, or you're in this GI window to where, you don't have to worry about that. Just don't let me forget. I'll show you a way we can eliminate that exposure in just a minute. So it's all about positioning it right here as you're going through the summary of benefits. Then you can move on to things like their outpatient surgery costs and give them the option to eliminate that as well with an outpatient surgery rider in some states. And once we get to this $90 ER copay or this $120 ER copay that we see on these Advantage plans, we can then tell them that, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, that same program that's going to help you in the event of a hospitalization also sends you a check for $150 per trip or per visit to the emergency room each year. So $150 benefit to take care of that $90 bill and leave you with $60 in your pocket 4 times a year. And that's built in with Heartland. No additional premium built into the base hospital benefit. And when they hear they can make money on this plan, they usually want to know how much does this cost, right? It can't be free. So $25.67 is all it'll take to eliminate that $295 exposure for the first 6 days in the hospital. It'll also take care of that $90 ER visit. And Heartland pays up to 3 days a year on observation. So if they're put in observation for a couple hours, we'll pay 100% of their hospital benefit for that time in observation. So we have a really nice quoting tool. If we get the time towards the end of the call, we can demo it. It doesn't take more than 5 minutes to put an application through. So if one of your objections to selling hospital indemnity is I don't have the time for it, just make the extra time, give yourself another 5 minutes and an appointment, and just present it while you're going through that summary of benefits like you're required to do anyways. Give them all their options. You're doing them a disservice if you don't. We can cover most of this ambulance copay here for about $2.40 a month by adding our ambulance rider to the plan. We can then move on to the chemotherapy and the Part B drug coinsurances, one of the biggest exposures of all related to these plans. And on this particular plan, just like any other MA plan you see out there, they're responsible for 20% of the cost as it relates to chemo and radiation. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, one of the most common ways people hit this maximum out of pocket here on your plan is due to the diagnosis of cancer. And your client wants to be like most people, right? Your client wants to be like the average person and make sure they're covered for the same amount as they are. So this is where you educate the client on the fact that most of my clients cover themselves for at least 2 years worth of cancer treatment. And the way they do that is they take out this cancer benefit and cover themselves for 2 years worth of their maximum out of pocket. That way, if I'm diagnosed with cancer in September, right, and I have to start paying for 20% for chemotherapy and radiation, I'm going to hit $3,900 pretty quickly, aren't I? paying 20% for chemo? Absolutely. So as I work up and hit my maximum out of pocket before the end of the year, I'm getting a check for $8,000 to take care of it. I'm also protecting myself for hitting that maximum out of pocket in the new year as well. If I'm still going through treatment in January, February, March, I'm most likely going to hit my maximum out of pocket again that year. And thankfully, I got an $8,000 check when I was first diagnosed. That's going to help me take care of a lot of these bills. Okay? You don't have to stop at 2 years of coverage. There are a lot of things not covered by Medicare as they relate to cancer. Even your drug costs, right, on the Part D side can go up as you start taking all these medications. So don't limit them, right? Give them the option, hey, this goes up to $20,000 in coverage. And then I have some details on this cancer rider that you're going to really like, and we'll get into in just a minute. As far as skilled nursing goes, stories sell. So I have a lot of stories that I've heard over the years of consumers or customers who have had really horrific experiences in skilled nursing, either them or a loved one who's since passed away. I've heard of people getting kicked out of skilled nursing facilities because they couldn't afford copays. I've heard of people, once their private insurance company gets involved, their Medicare Advantage plan, they have all these issues getting those services covered. So an extra $200 a day in skilled nursing can really help these individuals, no matter their situation. Even if the Advantage plan is going to cover their portion. Nowadays, these copays in skilled nursing are close to $200 a day, $196, $198 a day. On some plans, days 21 through 100, all the way up to your max out of pocket, right? So for about $15 a month at 65, we can protect our clients from that exposure. $15 a month in premium. And a lot of clients, as long as you bring it up and talk to them about it, will elect for that additional coverage. Because guess what? You know that $200 a month MedSup I was talking about? That would have covered you for this. That MedSup would have also covered you for that 20% for chemo, right? And radiation. So we're just getting you closer to those Plan G benefits, but for a fraction of what that would cost. So here's a look at, what that may cost. A $5,000 cancer rider, for example, with some outpatient surgery benefits, skilled nursing, and ambulance, all added to that $300 base plan we looked at earlier for 6 days. This is a $75 premium. I'll tell you right now, my average premium selling these policies is about $65 a month. Okay, I worked a lot of T65. Okay, so I'm not necessarily working a fixed income market. I work all incomes of all sizes, but when somebody's aging into Medicare, you can really do a good job positioning these riders because again, the Medicare Supplement option would cover a lot of these things. But if my client's telling me here, hey, I'm okay paying $295 for a surgery if I need one, right? I mean, how many surgeries am I really going to need? Am I going to need 2 surgeries a year? Probably not. So the whole reason I was going with Medicare Advantage was to save some premium, right? To put some of that money back in my pocket. So I might not want to pay this $18.90 each month to have my surgeries covered. I may prefer to just pay those out of pocket. Well, if that's the case, Mr. or Mrs. Jones, what's most important to you? What are you most worried about? Do you have a history of cancer in your family, right? Like I do. Is it skilled nursing? Do you have any experiences with family members who ended up in skilled nursing, paying a lot out of pocket? And if it's cancer, look, I'll go ahead and take some of that. I'll take that outpatient surgery benefit off in a heartbeat, and I'll reposition a bit of that premium into the cancer benefit. So I took them from $5,000 to $8,000 in cancer here, and I still saved them $10 a month in premium because I took the time to talk to my client and listen to them about what is important to them. Okay, so not a ton of exposure here anymore. I mean, some of the things our clients may still be subject to are going to be dialysis, right? People going through dialysis are going to hit their max out of pockets pretty quickly anyhow. But the nice thing is they can still take out one of these plans. Even if they've hit their max out of pocket due to dialysis, they still get all of these benefits and they just keep receiving cash and they put it in the bank because they don't have any more medical bills, right? They satisfy their max out of pocket. They won't have to pay another penny out of pocket. and they just cash all the daily hospital benefits. They cash the $8,000 for chemo that we paid them, right? It really can be a moneymaker for folks on these MA plans. So as far as the breakdown of the benefits go, our base plan is pretty flexible. It increases in $50 increments from $100 to $600 a day. It covers both accidents and illnesses, and our benefit periods range from 3 to 10 days, 15, 20, or 31 days in the hospital. Okay, this means if your client has a 5-day copay and they take out a plan that covers them for 10 days, we will still send them their cash benefit for days 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 if they're hospitalized for those additional 5 days. Let's say we take out a 10-day plan. Our client is hospitalized for 3 days. We'll pay them for their 3 days. A week later, they end up back in the hospital. They still have a remaining 7 days of coverage to cover them, okay, before our 60-day restoration takes place. After having been out of the hospital for 60 days, all of your base plan benefits will reset. You will get another, however much per day for the days you selected. So let's just say another $300 a day for 10 days, for example. So that way, as your Medicare Advantage plan resets and charges you again, our plan is resetting as well. As far as observation goes, I mentioned it earlier, we will pay 3 days per calendar year for observation at 100% of your daily hospital benefit. We pay 4 times a year on the ER benefit, and it's not contingent on hospital admission. So they could be sent home and we'll still pay them for that ER visit. For those of you who just joined us, we have a GI window available for a 13-month window, 6 months before your 65th birthday and 6 months following your 65th birthday. So between 64.5 and 65.5. Our plan is issue ages 18 to 85. So this is where I'm saying when you're talking to somebody and they've got a spouse sitting at the table who's 62 years old or 63 years old, you can still sell this product to them to protect them from their deductibles or their co-insurances on their group plan, on their under 65 health plan. Okay, they will have to medically qualify because they're not in that GI window, however. And it's a lot cheaper to buy this thing young. When you're 18 to 49 on this plan, everybody between ages 18 to 49 pay the same rate. Okay, men and women pay the same rate. And that rate locks in at issue age. So when you buy this policy at 49 years old, you'll pay the 49-year-old rate for your lifetime. We have a 7% household discount, and it's super easy to qualify for. All you have to do is live with somebody over the age of 18, and you get 7% off your premiums. There are 3 states, Oklahoma, Ohio, and Illinois, where you do have to have 2 people qualify in order to receive that discount, however. Oklahoma, Ohio, and Illinois. Outside of those 3 states, as long as you live with somebody over 18, they do not have to apply. You get a 7% discount. With these plans, it's really nice because there's no actual underwriting or script checks done at the time of issue. You are doing the field underwriting. You are asking them a series of yes or no health questions on the application. As long as they can answer no to these health questions, they'll be issued the policy. Okay? If something did come up, let's say maybe they had a pre-existing condition. Even if they're guaranteed issue, we still have to be mindful of pre-existing conditions because we will not pay on anything relating to a pre-existing condition for the first 6 months. Okay, so let's say they are guaranteed issue and they did have cancer in the last 2 years. If they're hospitalized in the first 6 months and it's related to that cancer diagnosis, we won't cover anything related to that pre-X for the first 6 months. Now you've had the policy for over 6 months, we will pay every time you're hospitalized for that pre-existing condition. Now, if you're non-guaranteed issue, let's say you are having to answer these health questions on the app, we will contest claims within the first year of the policy. What that means is if somebody files a claim within the first 12 months, we need to be mindful of this. The company will look back at medical records to make sure they were eligible for the policy when it was written. So if they're not, it'll get rescinded. The client will be refunded their premiums and the agent will get a chargeback. So if we have any questions on that, put them in the chat box. We can address them at the end of the call. But all these indemnity plans contest claims for 2 years. Ours on paper, we have the ability to contest for 2 years, but I'll tell you right now, we do not contest claims outside the first year. We have a dual application as well. On this dual application, it's important to note, you will put the husband and wife, let's say, paying out of the same bank info on that app. They will get 2 separate policy numbers and 2 separate benefits, right? Based on what they selected in the e-app. We do have a paper app available for those of you who are a little old school, but I definitely recommend using that e-app just because it is so easy and you can knock it out in less than 5 minutes. Once the application is issued, it'll probably take about 6 hours. You'll see it in your portal showing as active or issued pending processing. But you know, if you're putting the application through it, it is going to get approved, okay? The only time we look at health is going to be if they file a claim in the first year. So 2 things to note on this cancer benefit. So first of all, there's a recurrence benefit built in. And on this recurrence benefit, somebody could be diagnosed with cancer, receive a check for $20,000, and after treatment, they could go into remission. If after 1 year cancer-free, they're diagnosed again with cancer, they could receive a 10% cancer payout. So 10% of 20 grand, $2,000, for example. After 2 years cancer-free, the benefit will build back up to 25%. 25% of 20,000, $5,000. And again, gradually back up to 100% after a total of 5 years cancer-free for it to pay again. I like touching on this because with those standalone cancer, heart attack, and stroke plans that you see out there, not knocking on them, but it takes 10 years to restore back up to 100% on those plans. Ours will take 5 years to build back up to 100%, and we do not charge an additional premium for this. Our recurrence benefit is built in to the cancer policy, to the cancer rider. The other companies you'll see might charge $7, $8, $9, $10 a month to add a recurrence benefit to that cancer plan. So that's huge, and it's important we educate clients on the fact that, hey, not only would it take you, let's say, 30 years, 40 years to pay more into this plan in premium than you'd get out of a one-time cancer benefit, if you were diagnosed twice in your lifetime, it would take almost 60 years to pay more into this policy than you would receive from 2 payouts. So this is good stuff. The other thing to note, number 2, is we pay 5% on skin cancer and 25% on in situ, non-invasive stage 0 cancer in situ or situ. We will pay 100% on the internal cancers like thyroid, prostate, lung, breast, okay? Most cancer plans don't pay on skin cancer, so it's important to be mindful the client will still receive a 5% benefit on that. And then as far as this hospital confinement rider goes, this is not something we see very utilized or heavily utilized in the senior market. This is a rider that we usually position with somebody on an ACA plan or somebody with a large deductible that they have to satisfy before their plan will pay whatsoever in the event of a hospitalization. This is a rider that would cost a lot more for somebody who's 65 than somebody under the age of 50, okay? So one of the main reasons it's not sold over 65 is due to the cost, but also they don't need it, right? If they have a daily copay, we're gonna cover that through the base plan anyhow. But in the under 65 space, it is very popular to add something like a $2,500 lump sum hospital confinement rider to the plan, because just for 1 day in the hospital, your client would receive a check for $2,500 in addition to their base plan. So if we've sold a $600 a day base plan for 10 days, our client would get $600 a day, so $6,000 over a 10-day period, and $2,500 for that first day in the hospital, $8,500 for 10 days in the hospital. That is a great program to pair with under 65 health insurance. And again, it's a lot more affordable to be adding that in the under 65 space. That outpatient surgery rider, I will admit, it is a little bit expensive in the new year. We will be chopping the rates in half on that outpatient surgery rider. We're going to be lowering the rates so we can sell it a lot more. Make it more affordable to the customers. And then with skilled nursing, again, they do have 2 different options here. They can choose to select either $150 or $200 a day per day in skilled nursing. And that pays days 21 through 100. There's a 20-day elimination period, just like with Medicare and just like with their MAPD plan. Again, the client is not going to have to worry about that copay once they hit their max out of pocket. Let's say they hit their max out of pocket 40 days in, right? Heartland National will keep paying their $200 benefit per day, even though they've hit their maximum out of pocket. The ambulance benefit we mentioned pays 3 times a year at $200. That includes air, water, and ground ambulance. Okay. We have a list of wellness tests you'll see on the right-hand side of the screen here. Annual physicals, blood sugar tests, chest x-ray, colonoscopy, mammogram, immunizations, even a stress test at the cardiologist or a vision or hearing exam. We'll pay $25 per wellness test or per health screening test 4 times a year if you add this rider. And this rider only costs about $30 a year in premium, $2.80 a month in premium. So that's a good way to actually pay some of your premiums down if you know, if you're guaranteed you'll be doing 4 of these screenings per year. I have a lady in North Carolina, she once took out this policy, and before she even had the plan for 2 months, she had already had 3 of these services done. She had an immunization, a vision exam, and a stress test at the cardiologist. And she actually had a blood sugar test scheduled later in the year. So she received a full $100 in benefit, and she only paid $30 for it. So it's not something you'll sell to everybody, but some people will really like it depending on who you're talking to. But most of these things are covered already on the MA plan. And as far as dental, vision, hearing goes, our DVH rider has no network whatsoever, and there is no coordination of benefits. So just like all our other benefits, doesn't matter where you go for the service, and it'll pay you directly a cash benefit. It'll pay the client cash in the form of a check. $75 for a dental cleaning after 3 months, $50 for a vision exam, $50 for a hearing exam. The reason I say after 3 months is we waive the deductible after having the plan in force for 3 months. We'll cover basic services after 6 months, including $200 a year in eyeglasses, contact lenses, or hearing aids. We'll cover major services after 12, not including implants. So bridges, crowns, dentures, and extractions. And then after having, once you take out this policy, we will pay 60% during the first year of actual charges. So after having the policy in force for 6 months, maybe our client needs a filling. We'll pay 60% of actual charges on that filling, okay? After having the policy in force for 12 months, we will pay 70% of actual charges during year 2, and 80% of actual charges year 3, including major services. So we pay 80% of their crown, up to their $1,000 allowance or $1,500 allowance. The nice thing about this is there's a lot of people in rural areas that have always had issues with dental plans paying. This plan will pay regardless of any type of network. The plan is available in 36 states, so pretty wide footprint. We do not have any intentions of getting up in the Northeast, California, or those northern states. So I hope this takes care of everybody on the call. When it comes to the claims process, it's super easy. We just need an itemized bill, or sometimes the hospital will offer what's called a UB04 form. The UB04 is pretty detailed with diagnosis codes, and it shows us per day in the hospital so that we know exactly how many days we need to be paying on. If you offer to facilitate this with the client, I'll tell you, you can expect probably a 30-second phone call into the hospital, into their billing department, requesting that bill. Once they fax that bill in, it's in Heartland's hands from there. Okay, so the quickest way to, or the best way to keep your clients happy with the claims process is acting on it quick, getting that bill sent in right away. So here's my cell phone number, my email address. We'll do a quick demo of the e-app and coding tool so you can see just how easy it is to write business with us. But I do want to mention before that, we are kicking off that $50 bonus on October 1. Okay, so a $50 per app bonus, no minimum monthly requirements. You could write one policy and get your $50 bonus for that month. So fourth quarter incentives. And then we also have some exciting news. We will be launching a home healthcare plan, a short-term home healthcare policy later this month. We're hoping to have this out in the next 2 weeks, and we'll be doing a follow-up training on our home healthcare plan. So very exciting news. It is a wonderful product to allow your clients to recover in the comfort of their own home. If you're not familiar with it, again, we'll be doing some follow-up trainings on this particular product so you know all the ins and outs and how to position it in the home. If you are already selling home healthcare, you will see a lot of similarities between our plan and some of our competitors. We have increased some of the allowances on certain things like prescription drug reimbursement to where clients can get $15 per generic prescription drug they fill if they send in their receipts, $30 per brand name script they fill. So there's a lot of really neat things about that policy, including very minimal health questions, literally 3 health questions in order to qualify. So we can't wait to start training on that and getting it in your hands. The home healthcare policy, for those who might not qualify for an indemnity plan, does have a hospital indemnity rider on the policy that you can sell with, again, a minimal 3 health questions for those people who may not qualify for this plan. So definitely type in some questions in the chat box if you have any at this point. I try to be pretty thorough in explaining those benefits. But we're going to do a quick demo of the e-app so everybody can see just how easy it is to sign somebody up. Tyler, any questions from you, sir?
Nope, none so far. I think you've been extremely thorough so far. So I think we're pretty good. Go ahead and do that, the e-app demo here. And I do have a couple questions coming in, but we will save those for the end here as soon as you get done with that e-app, if you don't mind.
Okay, yeah, and hang tight, everybody. We'll get to those questions. This is only going to take probably 3 minutes to get this app written. So I'm going to cover my chemotherapy coinsurance here with a cancer benefit of $8,000, add some skilled nursing in, and a little ambulance. I'm looking right under $65 a month at this point. You can see it's very easy, just a set of drop-down windows to select your benefits. If they are within that GI window, you'll see all of these questions are already pre-answered no. So you won't have to worry about asking health questions to that individual. As far as health questions go, we look back 2 years for these conditions if they're outside of that GI window. For kidney disease, we're only concerned with stages 4 and 5, okay? Most likely going through dialysis if they're stage 4 and 5. And then we do, just keep this in mind, we do take up to 50 units of insulin per day for diabetics, as long as they don't have any complications of diabetes. COPD and emphysema are a knockout, same with oxygen, the use of oxygen or a nebulizer. We are going to be getting this question removed in the meantime, before we get to the new year. If they use a CPAP for sleep apnea, just go ahead and answer this question no. We're not worried about people using a CPAP for sleep apnea, just disregard requiring the use of a CPAP. But if they do have COPD or emphysema, that's a no-go. Those are my quick little takeaways on the underwriting. For the cancer rider, instead of looking back 2 years, we look back 5, okay, to take out that cancer rider. And then watch how quick we can move through steps 2 to 10. It's just simple data entry from here. We do require an account or routing number to pay premiums, so no debit or credit cards. As far as if they don't want to share their payment information like that online, they can either call it in later. You can put some dummy bank info in on the app and they can call it in, or they can do a direct bill. We offer a quarterly, semi-annual, or annual direct bill on our paper app. So So we do have the ability to text the application for signing or email it, again, through DocuSign. Here's our household discount, asking about the 18-year-old or anybody over 18. And then we get to review the benefits before we get on to getting their bank info. So at this point, here's your benefit selections. Is there anything you want to add or drop before we move forward? And then at this point, we need to let them know, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Jones, your monthly payment on this plan will be $64.70 a month. Please keep in mind, however, your first premium will include a $25 application fee. So your first premium will be $89.17. Then in, let's say, October, your next premium would be $64.17 moving forward. And they'll say, okay, thank you for letting me know. Don't make that an issue. Never has been for me. Let's go with September 1 effective date. But you do have the ability to write these policies up to 90 days out. As far as, selecting that initial premium, the initial premium does have to come out on or before the effective date. I cannot go past September 1 because my effective date is September 1. And then we'll ask for the recurring draft date, anywhere between the 1st and the 28th. If you select the 10th, that's fine in this case. My first premium would come out September 1st. My next premium would come out on October 10th to pay for October, okay? But if as soon as I go outside of 10 days from the effective date, let's say the 11th, for example, here, my policy will actually, my recurring payments will draft a month ahead. So my first premium would come out September 1 to pay for September. And then on September 11th, I would pay for October. So try to avoid that. If your client's telling you, hey, I need my recurring payments to come out on the 15th of each month, and I do not want to be paying a month ahead, then simply change that effective date to September 5th, and then you can move the recurring draft up to the 15th. Okay, there's a workaround for that. It just needs to be within 10 days of the effective date. Okay, we'll have to open up an outline of coverage at this point and a guide to people with Medicare. Accept a couple things here. And where do you want the policy being sent to, the applicant or to yourself, so you can hand deliver it? Okay, and then put in your phone number at the end here. And it'll ask you a series of questions. Where did you meet the applicant, in person or over the phone? Is there anybody else present when taking the application? And did you and the applicant review the app for correctness and omissions? They'll get a chance to review it for correctness and omissions when you send it to them for signing. So yes, they did. If you're related to the applicant, you'll be paid as earned instead of on advancing, okay? And then if you are doing field training or taking anybody on ride-alongs, you can actually split commission here to split those sales. HIPAA, authorization, and then signature. So how do we want to sign, in person or via text? I did not put an email address in, so it won't let me email it. I'm going to go ahead and show you what this looks like in person. Make sure you put your email address in on this last step. It asks for the primary agent's email. That way you get an enrollment receipt, a copy of the signed application, letting you know all parties have signed. So that didn't take very long, did it? I'm telling you, present it while you're going through the summary of benefits, plant the seed, and then just enroll it, oftentimes even before you've even put the MA plan through. I'll usually get their banking info and get them to agree to that premium before I even write the MA plan. I know which MA plan I'm writing because I just built this around those copays and that max out of pocket. But they get a chance to review all their personal information in here and their benefit selections, their household discount, their bank info, and then they'll sign here and hit finish. Once they hit finish, again, the agent gets an email with a signed copy, and that's how you know it's been completed. But we have a very easy to use agent portal and e-app. And again, that claims process is the smoothest you'll see, especially outside of that first year. But when working through claims, please feel free to give me a call with any questions you have, or if you need any assistance contacting a manager out there. Happy to help. So Tyler, let's open it up for some questions. And it sounded like you had some already in the chat box piling up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks, Brendan. Certainly appreciate that, buddy. One thing that you did say during the webinar is spend the extra 5 minutes to go through this with your clients and everything like that. You'll be amazed at how you can almost double your income and everything, especially during AEP, just by asking simple questions, pairing up a hospital indemnity plan like this with that Medicare Advantage plan. I see a couple people that are on this webinar that are currently doing that. And it is amazing. Not only can they enhance their clients' coverage, but the income you can make on that is very substantial. So a couple questions here, Brandon. One question asks if there is an ortho benefit on the dental rider.
Orthodontics? No, there's not. There's not.
Okay. Next question says, what are the 3 health questions on the home healthcare app?
Okay. Yeah, it's basically, I don't have them up in front of me. I actually almost grabbed the app so I could share it today, but it's basically, can you make it to the front door, right? And in order for, on the home healthcare, in order for the plan to pay, all you have to do is show, and again, have something written by a medical professional stating that you cannot satisfy 2 of 6 activities of daily living.
Yep.
But
and once that product releases, we'll probably be doing another webinar with Brandon or his team there, getting that product out to you guys. So we'll have more information on that. So if you have any last minute questions, please type them into the box now. We'll give you, a few more seconds here to get those in. Otherwise, certainly appreciate everybody again taking time out of the day to jump on here. I will be sending out an email with all the product info as well as a recording of this webinar, so you can watch it at your convenience again if you want to. And Brandon, again, certainly appreciate you taking time out of your day to jump on with us as well.
Yeah, thank you everybody for your time as well, and Tyler for putting this together. We appreciate the partnership. Thank you, Western Marketing.
Yep, absolutely. Looks like there's no more questions, so we will let everybody get back to your day.
Okay. Thanks again. Bye, everyone.
All right. Thanks, everybody.